Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. We'll start with Mangalacharan and then we'll continue with our reading of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatadeshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, we are continuing to recite our prayers by Shri Bilvamangal Thakur, Shri Govinda Damodar Stotram, verses 51 to 60. Anybody would like to sing today? Link is in the chat. I'm sharing my screen. Anybody wants to try? Okay, I'm going to continue then. Hare Krishna. Shri Bilvamangal Thakur ki jai. Tvam eva yache mama dehi jirve samagate dandadhare kritante vaktavyam madhuram subhaktya govinda damo dharmadhaveti bhajasva mantram bhavabandhamuktyaye जिह्वे रसज्ञे सुलभं मनोज्ञं द्वैपायनाद्यैर्मुनिभिः प्रजप्तं गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति गोपालवंशीधररूपसिन्धो लोकेशनारायणदीनबन्धो उच्चस्वरैस्त्वं वद सर्वदैव गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति जिह्वे सदैव भज सुन्दराणि नामानि कृष्णस्य मनोहराणि समस्तभक्तार्तिविनाशनानि गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति गोविन्द गोविन्द हरे मुरारे गोविन्द गोविन्द मुकुन्द कृष्ण गोविन्द गोविन्द रथाङ्गपाणि गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति सुखावसाने त्विदमेव सारम् दुःखावसाने त्विदमेव गेयम् देहावसाने त्विदमेव चाप्यम् गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति दुर्वारवाक्यं परिगृह्य कृष्णा मृगीव भीता तु कथं कथाञ्चित् सभां प्रविष्टा मनसा जुहाव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति श्रीकृष्ण राधा वरगोकुलेश गोपाल गोवर्धननाथ विष्णु जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति श्रीनाथ विश्वेश्वर विश्वमूर्ते श्रीदेवकी नन्दन दैत्यशत्रु जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोपीपते कंसरिपो मुकुन्द लक्ष्मीपते केशव वासुदेव जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति हरे कृष्णा 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. श्री गोविंद दामोदर स्तोत्रम की जय, श्री बिलवांगल ठाकुर की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. Okay, anybody would like to take up the service of reading translations from 51 to 60?
I can do, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji, sure. Aarti Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. O my tongue, I ask only this, that upon my meeting the bearer of the scepter of chastisement of Yamaraja, you will utter this sweet phrase with great devotion, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. O my tongue, owner of rasa, for release from the hellish bondage of material existence, just worship the charming and easily obtained mantra that is chanted by Ved Vyas and other sages. Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. You should always and everywhere loudly chant Gopal, Vamsidhara, O ocean of beauty, Lord of the worlds, Narayana, O friend of the poor, Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava. O my tongue, always worship these beautiful enchanting names of Lord Krishna, Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava, which destroy all the obstacles of the devotees. O Govinda, Govinda, Hare Murari, O Govinda, Govinda, Mukund Krishna, O Govinda, Govinda, O holder of the chariot wheel, O Govinda, O Damodara, O Madhava. Indeed, this is the essence found upon ceasing the affairs of mundane happiness, and this too is to be sung after the cessation of all sufferings. This alone is to be chanted at the time of death of one's material body. Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. Somehow or other, accepting the unavoidable command of Dushasana, Draupadi, like a frightened doe, entered the assembly of princes and, within her mind, cried out to the Lord, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. O tongue, drink only these nectarian names, Sri Krishna, dearmost of Sri Radha, Lord of Gokula, Gopala, Lord of Govardhan, Vishnu, Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava. Srinath, Lord of the universe, form of the universe, beautiful son of Devaki, O enemy of the demons, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava, O my tongue, just drink this nectar. Lord of the Gopis, enemy of Kamsa, Mukunda, husband of Lakshmi Devi, Keshava, son of Vasudev, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava, O my tongue, just drink this nectar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes, such a nice prayer by Bilmangal Thakur. Yeah, like here he's mentioning he's Lord of the universe. Yesterday we celebrated Jagannath Rath Yatra in India, Jagannath Puri. Right? Jagannath Jagat ke jo Nath hain. He's the Lord of the universe. He's the holder of the chariot wheel. And it was the festival of the chariots yesterday. So again, very nice prayer that reminds us of Shri Jagannath, Shri Baldev, Shri Subhadra Mai, and Shri Sudarshan as they come out of the temple to bless all the devotees. It was just amazing to see a sea of devotees. जैसे समंदर अपार है वैसे ही भगवान के जो भक्त हैं वो भी अपार हैं. And we see the crowd of people on the streets. It also helps us realize how tiny and insignificant we are. Sometimes we are so proud, and at least I can say for myself, right? So, but when we see the swarm of devotees on the streets, and we say, oh, we are just one out of such unlimited billions, trillions, gazillions of souls, spirit souls. We are just part and parcel of the Lord. And it reminds us the quality of humility, that we should be humble. We are very, very insignificant in this world. And yeah, when we see those many devotees on the streets, then we realize, We are just one amidst all this, Jivatmas of the Lord. Yes, and that's what Prabhupada is teaching his disciples in New Jagannath Puri, as we are reading chapter 24 of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, continuing from yesterday.
And
Prabhupada is-
Prabhuji, one thing
Hmm,
I want to
hmm,
add. Yesterday,
yeah.
Asit Krishna Maharaj has come from Govardhan.
Hmm,
So he's from Odisha, so he was also telling why Jagannath is coming every year outside to give darshan to all his devotees or all Jivatmas. Like how to clean our garbage in our mind and heart so that Jagannath will, sit in our heart and mind. So today he has session in our center. So in yesterday, Friday Gita session, so he was telling that one, why Jagannath is coming outside every year, once in a year.
Yes. Thank you, Nalin Prabhu, for sharing that. Yes. Just as Jagannath comes once a year, but of course now he's not once a year. Jagannath is coming everywhere in all the cities around the world.
Yeah, but
that's
yes.
Prabhupada's mercy. Similarly, we have all these Maharajas coming, once a year, and to take us closer to Jagannath, to take us back home, back to Godhead. So yeah, we are very grateful. Will be such a nice program today evening. But yes, again, you see, very auspicious. He's originally from Jagannath Puri, and he came exactly, and he talked about this on the occasion of Jagannath Puri, Rath Yatra. So yes, that process of cleaning our heart so that the Lord can recite, that is very, very important. And that happens when we, like Prabhupada is teaching here, we have to become serious. We have to become really serious. And that is the only qualification we have. If we have sincerity and seriousness, then we can progress spiritually. Like I was saying yesterday, it is all about desire, what desire we have in our heart. And like you said, Maharaj was saying about cleanliness, right? We say in English, very famous proverb, cleanliness is next to godliness. So we should clean our heart, and that cleanliness, then the Lord comes, and when his chariot rolls in our heart, sometimes we'll see all the dust will, like you say, when we clean our heart, dust will come up, dust will rise. But then we should not be disturbed or perturbed by that. That is the process of cleaning that is happening. So similarly, yeah, when we have cleanliness in our heart, then the Lord comes. So, and that cleanliness we can easily achieve just simply by chanting the holy names, japa. Even Jagannath Puri, I was thinking, if I just remove the Jagannath and J and P, if you put Jagannath ka J or Puri ka P, so it's japa, JP, japa. So just like we do japa, we should, Jagannath Puri is like when you do japa, then Jagannath aayenge hamare hriday mein, rolling in his heart. Okay, so we'll continue. Yesterday, Prabhupada initiated one other disciple, Vain, and named him Upendra, and he's teaching him. He was not able to follow the rules and regulations, so Prabhupada is now going to continue the discussion with him. Okay, one day, when Upendra was alone with Prabhupada in his room, Prabhupada asked, "You are living with a young girl and people who take intoxicants." For the second time, Upendra was convinced that Swamiji could read his mind and knew his entire life. Yes, Upendra admitted, but I am not having, Prabhupada interrupted. That is not good, Swamiji. I am not having any sexual connections. Where there is a boy and where there is a girl, Prabhupada said, there is sex. You must come and live with me. Upendra was delighted. Yes, I will come immediately. He took a few belongings from his apartment, left everything else with his girlfriend, and moved into the front room of Prabhupada's apartment. He was now Swamiji's personal servant. Prabhupada requested him to keep his job at the post office. Around midnight, as soon as Upendra got off work, he would return to the apartment. Prabhupada always left the door unlocked for him. Usually, soon after Upendra locked the door, crawled into a sleeping bag, and fell asleep, he would be awakened by Prabhupada speaking into his dictating machine, composing teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Upendra would nod off again and sleep until 6. Upendra relished his close association with his spiritual master and became always cheerful. I just want to be Swamiji's dog, he would often tell the other devotees. One time, Upendra was reading to himself from Srimad Bhagavatam. The whole subject matter is so presented through the lips of Srila Shukadeva Goswami that any sincere audience who will lend his ear submissively to his message of the transcendental world will at once relish the transcendental mellows, distinguished from the perverted mellows of the material world. The ripened fruit is not dropped all of a sudden from the highest planet of Krishna Loka, but it has come down carefully, being handled by the chain of disciplic succession without any change or disturbance in the formation of the soft and ripened fruit. You don't have any questions? Prabhupada asked. Upendra looked up from the book. No, Swamiji, I accept everything you say. Prabhupada began rocking strongly in his rocking chair and smiled as Upendra kept reading. Then Prabhupada taught Upendra the proper way to hold a book while reading, with the palms of both hands up and off the lap. This advice gave Upendra greater enthusiasm to please his spiritual master by reading his books. Upendra was still bothered by sexual desires. He thought that maybe he should get married, but he was confused about what a Krishna conscious marriage was supposed to be. How could you be married, he puzzled, if you don't love the girl you want to marry? And how could you love her without having sex with her? He wanted to ask Swamiji about this, but he kept it to himself, waiting for an opportunity and for the courage. Then one day he entered Prabhupada's room as Prabhupada paced back and forth from one end of the room with its three large bay windows overlooking Frederick Street to the other end, where his rocking chair sat. Now Upendra decided he could ask his question. Swamiji, he began, may I ask a question? Yes, Srila Prabhupada replied, stopping his pacing. If a boy is separate from a girl, then how can he learn to love her? Prabhupada began to walk back and forth again, chanting on his beads. After a moment, he turned and said softly, Love? Love is for Krishna. And he walked toward the window and looked down at the street below. You want a girl? Pick one. He pointed toward some women passing on the street. There is no love in this material world, he said. Love is for Krishna. Gradually, under Srila Prabhupada's pure influence, Upendra began to feel less agitated by sexual demands. He came to understand that he was not a material body, but a spiritual soul, that the soul's eternal nature was to love Krishna, and that for a pure devotee, for Swamiji, love was for Krishna. More and more, Upendra just wanted to be the servant of Swamiji. He thought of what foods to buy for him and how to make things comfortable for him. It was in this mood of wanting to serve Swamiji, that Upendra visited the psychedelic shop one day. He had heard they had recently received some prints from India, so he went in and browsed through the prints, picked out some pictures of Lord Krishna, and took them to Swamiji. In Prabhupada's room, along with other devotees, Upendra unrolled the prints one by one on Prabhupada's desk, waiting to see Prabhupada's response. As Upendra watched, it seemed to him that Swamiji was looking at photos of his personal friend. He was pleased with the pictures. Hayagriva commented that the religious art of the Indian prince was a bit garish, but Prabhupada explained that the technique didn't matter. The important thing was that the pictures were of Krishna and were executed according to Vedic descriptions. For the devotee, they were beautiful. They were not different from Krishna. Prabhupada selected as his favorite a picture of Lord Krishna standing and playing his flute in the moonlight, the river Yamuna flowing by. In this picture, Krishna was known as Govinda. Prabhupada held the picture up and quoted a verse. Smeram bhangitraya parichitam shachivastrina drishtim vamshinyastadhara kishalayam ujjvalam chandrakena govindakhyam haritanam mitah keshi tirthopakanthe Ma prekshishthastava yadi sakhe bandhu sange strirangaha. He then took a sheet of paper and began writing, while the devotees watched him intently, listening to the scratching of the pen on the page. Then he read aloud, My dear friend, if you still have an inclination to enjoy material life, society, friendship, and love, then please do not see the boy named Govinda, who is standing in a three-curved way, smiling and skillfully playing on his flute, his lips brightened by the full moonshine. Yamuna, you can write this nicely. Prabhupada knew that Yamuna was a trained calligrapher. He asked her to print the verse and display it, along with the picture, by his sitting place in the temple. He wanted to be able to look at it during kirtanas. Upendra thought and prayed, if I can just fix myself steadily in serving Swamiji, who has such love for Krishna, then I too will become transcendental. He felt that since it was not possible for him to see Govinda the way Swamiji saw him, he should serve Swamiji, the pure devotee of Govinda, and in that way become pure. I just want to become Swamiji's dog, Upendra said as he left the apartment. In New York, the boys had their orders from Prabhupada not to give away any more money to Mr. Price unless there was a purchase contract. Prabhupada still wanted the building. He had written to Brahmananda on March 4th, I hope when I go to New York next, I shall enter the new house forthwith. And he had written Rai Ram on March 7th, I am very glad to learn that Brahmananda, yourself, and all others have the transcendental courage to take all risks for Krishna, and this act will enhance your glory in Krishna consciousness. But he wanted them not to be cheated by false promises. Meanwhile, Mr. Price was asking the devotees to turn over $5,000 to his financier friend, Mr. Hall, who would then add $20,000 and make the down payment to the owner, Mr. Tyler. Mr. Price wanted Brahmananda to get the point across to His Excellency that negotiations had to be done in this fashion, and right away, if they seriously wanted to get the house. Brahmananda wrote to Prabhupada asking him to advise the bank to transfer $5,000 into the account controlled by the boys, the trustees of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada gave permission and asked that the check be signed by the president and secretary because Brahmananda and Satsvarupa are the main support for purchasing this house, and Kirtanananda is a supplement to this from his kitchen department. But he said that the check should be made to the seller, Mr. Tyler, not to the financier, Mr. Hall. The money and the society is yours, Srila Prabhupada acknowledged. You can spend in any way, but it is my duty to give you advice as ever well-wisher. Then Mr. Price invited Brahmananda to meet Mr. Hall, and he suggested that Brahmananda come prepared with a check for $5,000. On the way, Mr. Price explained that Mr. Hall was perhaps the biggest real estate dealer in Manhattan, a multi-millionaire. He owned skyscrapers. Everything he owned was big. When Brahmananda entered Mr. Hall's office, he thought it was right out of a Hollywood movie, a conference room 10 times bigger than the Second Avenue Temple room. And seated at the head of the large oval table was Mr. Hall himself. The room was in semi-darkness, with a few spotlights on Mr. Hall, who sat before a battery of telephones. Even as they began to discuss, Mr. Hall paused several times, picking up phones and talking to persons in various places across the country. Young man, Mr. Hall said to Brahmananda, we are helping you get the house. It is a beautiful house, a New York City landmark. Then Mr. Hall's girlfriend called from a boat in the Caribbean. He talked to her for a while and then returned to Brahmananda and Mr. Price, who sat in the shadows at his conference table. Mr. Hall had a big contract he wanted Brahmananda to sign. Brahmananda knew that Swamiji wanted a contract, and here it was. He also knew that if he signed over the all of 5,000, he would have no other money and no extra income, and he knew they knew it. But Swamiji wanted the building. Swamiji himself had looked at $100,000 buildings and had offered to buy them, even though he had very little money to back his offers up. And Brahmananda always did whatever Swamiji said. To sign this contract, Brahmananda concluded, was an act of faith in Swamiji and Krishna. He didn't analytically ask, where will the rest of the money come from? To do so, he thought would be like doubting Swamiji. So here he was in the big time financier's office. It was awesome. The millionaires were going to help. Mr. Price was at Brahmananda's elbow. Mr. Hall was telling Brahmananda that everything was all right. We are going to get you this house. Now it was actually going to happen. Here was one of the biggest men in Manhattan offering to help. And whereas Brahmananda had no money, Mr. Hall would be able to pick up the place very easily from the owner. Glancing quickly over the contract, Brahmananda signed. It was a deal, and he gave them the check for $5,000. As soon as Brahmananda and Mr. Price left Mr. Hall's office, there was a distinct change in Mr. Price. Although still acting as Brahmananda's friend, he now said, gee, now you have to get this money. As they walked together on the uptown street, Mr. Price cheerfully pushed the whole thing onto Brahmananda. That was the change. Before, Mr. Price had been saying that he and Mr. Hall were going to do it, but now he said that it was all up to the devotees. Brahmananda asked about the legal position. Mr. Price explained that only the Krishna Society was bound. But what about the promises? What about Mr. Hall's being so rich and wanting to help them? And Mr. Price is wanting to help. Mr. Price assured Brahmananda that he and Mr. Hall did want to help. They were doing everything they could, but Brahmananda and other devotees should also do everything they could and come up with the $20,000 to complete the down payment by the end of the month. And what if they couldn't? Mr. Price made it very clear. If you don't pay the balance in a month, then you lose your deposit. By the time Brahmananda reached 22nd Avenue, he realized he had been cheated. He was crushed. He turned to the other devotees and told them what had happened, but they could only return, why did you do it? Brahmananda phoned Srila Prabhupada in San Francisco. Now that his eyes had been opened about Mr. Price, Mr. Brahmananda was blunt about his mistake, and he told Prabhupada that he had given away the $5,000. All of it is gone? Srila Prabhupada asked. Yeah, Brahmananda replied. He heard Prabhupada hang up the phone. Brahmananda had been about to explain the whole thing, but Swamiji had just hung up without a word. Brahmananda placed the receiver back on the hook. he was shaken. The next day, the trustees held a special meeting. The boys sat around in the front room of Prabhupada's apartment trying to decide what to do. Gargamuni again called Prabhupada, who advised them to stop the check at the bank. Swamiji is as smart as a fox, Rai Ram smiled. Gargamuni phoned the bank, but it was too late. The check had already been cashed. They consulted Mr. Goldsmith, their friendly lawyer. He said it sounded like a weak legal case. Price and Hall hadn't legally bound themselves to pay anything if the devotees failed to pay. And if the devotees couldn't pay the 20,000 balance by the end of the month, they would lose their 5,000 deposit. They could sue for fraud, but court fees would be costly. Then, one by one, Brahmananda, Satsvarupa, Kirtanananda, Rai Ram, Gargamuni, and others began to look at the letters from Prabhupada and discuss how he had warned them to avoid being cheated. Their greatest blunder, they began to realize, was disobeying his instructions. He had told them not to trust the promises of these businessmen, and he had told them that the check should be made only to the owner, not to the financier. Within a few days, further instructions from their spiritual master came in the mail. There were admonishments, but hearing from him, even if he was chastising them, was better than the pain of his hanging up the phone without a word. But you have not followed my instructions, and now you are in trouble, he wrote to the boys. He wrote Rairam, you are all foolish boys. I repeatedly warned you, even at the last point, that we should not pay the check unless there was agreement between Mr. Tyler and Mr. Hall. The agreement was signed like a marriage ceremony without the presence of the bridegroom. The mistake was there, and now you are repenting. To Satsvarupa, he wrote, you have asked me whether the San Francisco branch will pay some money for purchasing the house. But where is your house? And where is the purchase? So far, it is talks of Mr. Price and Company in which you innocent boys have been entrapped. I do not know how I can help you in your great blunder. I can only hope that Krishna will help you. Unlike the boys and their lawyers, Prabhupada thought the legal case against the businessman would be a strong one. I'm not a lawyer, but this is common sense affair. Mr. Hall has taken the money and he must finance to purchase the house. If he has no money to finance, then it is a cheating case, clear and simple. The culprits, he said, should be brought to criminal court. Their conspiracy and fraud were obvious and could be proven. Okay, let's stop here. Hare Krishna. Yes, so once again teaching very, very important principle, and that he has been repeatedly telling him. A spiritual master's message is very clear and always the same. It is eternal, right? So he has been telling them the same thing, that you have to make sure that it's a contract and it's a contract with the seller. But yet again and again, they have been kind of not completely following his instruction in spirit and in a letter, and trying to do as they wanted to do, and then finally they are here in the situation, cheated by this material world around them. Maya is very, very strong in this world, so we have to be very, very vigilant and follow the instructions of our acharyas to the letter, what they have mentioned. That's why it's very important to read our shastras, read what Srila Prabhupada has written in his books. When we come here and we read these books, we read the small books of Prabhupada, Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. It gives us so many life instructions. And if we follow those instructions, at the core is the basic instructions that we receive at the time of initiation, to chant the holy names, seriously, sincerely, with attention, with affection, and to follow the four regulative principles. So those are very, very important instructions that all initiated disciples have to follow. Even those who are not initiated can start following those instructions, and eventually initiation is just a matter of time. It will come. If the devotee is sincere, then the Lord sends a pure devotee his way, right? So we don't have to be bothered. I think I was listening to Maharaj's class yesterday a little bit. I couldn't finish it fully, but I think he also says something similar, right? Idhar udhar bhagna nahi, and you just have to sincerely follow the instructions of our Guru. And then Krishna is seated in everybody's heart as Paramatma. He sees what the disciple, what the devotee is up to, and then he will make the proper arrangements. So, yeah, Prabhupada tells them, you have disobeyed the instructions. He has been telling them as an ever well-wisher, but they have not followed his instructions properly. So that was that. But yeah, also in San Francisco, yes, he's continuing to instruct his new disciples on those rules and regulations, and how that the love in this world is just a perverted reflection, and that's why it's called as lust, right? But the true love is and can only be for the true, genuine ever-wisher of our heart, who is Paramatma. So the true love is only for Krishna, like Prabhupada explains to Upendra Prabhu. In this world, it is not, there is no true love. Only when we keep Krishna in the center, then yes, when we love devotees, then that is love, because that love is based on the foundation of the Lord, of Sri Krishna in the heart. Then it becomes love. So yeah, very nice instructions, Mr. Prabhupada. Anything else anybody would like to share from today's reading?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. I really like the point of, in with Upendra Prabhu, he realizing that he don't have the true love for God and he cannot see Govinda, so he cannot develop that love. But he wholeheartedly surrendered to Prabhupada, and he was thinking that here is a pure devotee of Lord, and if I can serve him and look at him and develop love for him, maybe I can become as transcendental as he is. And I think that applies to me and all of us, that we cannot see Govinda, we cannot see Krishna with our eyes, we cannot directly feel him, but we see all these pure devotees of Lord and how they have molded their life and served with their hearts, taken up this mission of Prabhupada. And that is how we can develop a little bit of faith and love towards this movement, and towards how that is how we can achieve and see a glimpse of true love towards Krishna. So that is my take home point, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, like I think we had shared before also, Prabhupada. Following Prabhupada's instructions is very important, because my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, once asked Prabhupada, when they were in India, in Mayapur, that Srila Prabhupada, will everybody in ISKCON go back home, back to Krishna, back to Godhead? And Prabhupada looked at him and he said, no. And then Prabhupada said, only those who sincerely and seriously follow the instructions of Krishna and their Guru, only they will be perfected and they can go back. Right? So like yesterday also we were reading. So Prabhupada is saying the same thing again and again. So it's not just taking initiation and chanting and but not following the instructions by the Guru as it is. We cannot expect to go back, at least in this lifetime. Of course, we'll make some progress. Even chanting one holy name is as powerful as burning out tons and tons of our sins. That is the power of the holy name. It's like a fire. Just like you put anything in fire, it will be burnt. So similarly, this fire of the holy names, that can burn all of our sins. So it has that potency, but the extent of our progress will depend on our sincerity and our seriousness. So yeah, those were Prabhupada's words, that just because of joining ISKCON or just by chanting, it's not possible to go back. But we have to seriously and sincerely follow the instructions given by the Guru. So like you said, yes, when we say surrender is a very strong principle. And it has been broken down by our acharyas, right? Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur teaches in Sharanagati. Surrender means, it starts with Dainyata, Dainya, Atmanivedana, Goptitve Varana, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna, Vishwasa Palana. And then we have to follow what is favorable to devotional service and reject things that are unfavorable to devotional service. But yeah, developing the mode of humility, Atmanivedan, complete surrender, accepting Krishna as our maintainer and our protector, and then following the yam and niyam that Prabhupada has given. So all these things enable us to take complete shelter, complete surrender, Sharanagati. But yes, again, I mean, there are a lot of things, but since, like I said, if you really boil it down to the essence, it is really following those instructions that Prabhupada has given at the time of initiation. You just follow those, at least that is sincerity. Completely following those instructions is sincerity. And then slowly, slowly we will start seeing the mercy manifest. Hare Krishna. Okay, anything else from anybody? All right, if not, then thank you again for joining for this wonderful japa on Saturday morning as we celebrate Sri Jagannath Rath Yatra across the world. And thank you for also taking part in reading these instructions of Srila Prabhupada through Prabhupada Lilamrit. Okay, we'll conclude with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, शीला प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय, निताई गौर हरि हरि बोल. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.